The thing about lying is this: no matter how good you think the lie is that you told, everything done in the dark comes to light. So, here on part 2 of Liar Liar Pants on Fire, we'll uncover Cassie being a liar, how I caught her up being a liar, and how she still tried to manipulate me like she wasn't a liar. Let's get into it. So, boom, bam. After the series of unfortunate events, I'm not gonna lie, I started to feel bad for Cassie. I'm like, dang, she wrecked her car. She had to sleep outside. She was low-key embarrassed because we just got kicked out the bar, but I never knew why. I was no longer talking to my friend, low-key cut her off because it's like, I'm asking you what's going on with Cassie. You're not telling me anything. You're just telling me to stay away from her. She's a bad person. Whatever the case may be. That's not enough for me. I don't want to be the type of person to, just because someone else doesn't like you. Sometimes you have to give me a reason, depending on what it is. Now, if you out here doing sick stuff, like, okay, that's already a given. That's already spoken. I'm not going to want to kick it or hang, but I haven't heard anything bad about Cassie. And like I said, she was a pretty good person to me thus far. So I had no reason to, like, cut her off and stop talking to her at that moment, though. So as time passed, I continued taking Cassie back and forth from work. Remember, y'all, she paid me to take her very well. She paid me very well to take her back and forth from work. And, slowly but surely, I felt like me and her were kind of starting to bond. She definitely slowed down on the drinking a lot. Remember when we first met, everywhere we went, she just had to have her at least 4 to 5 drinks. And so on and so forth. She would always get like so crazy drunk. She can't find her keys. She's sleeping outside. She falling asleep on the way home. It was kind of crazy. But I noticed that the more time I was spending with Cassie, the more we low-key started to grow on each other. And I was just kind of like, maybe she ain't that bad after all. At this point, it's been like almost 3 months, since Cassie has wrecked her car. I've been taking her back and forth from work, which was really nothing to me, but I was just curious. So I asked her, like, when do you think you'll have the money to, get yourself a car? Because at first, if y'all remember, she told me it was going to be 2 weeks, just take her back and forth, whatever the case may be. So then she proceeded to tell me that it's kind of hard for her to pay her rent and try to, put some money to the side for the car, especially her job. They started to cut back her hours because she would tell me, like, oh, I found another ride home from work. And I'm like, why are you leaving work early? She's like, oh, well, they didn't have anything to do, so they gave us, voluntary leave or whatever. We go home, no point, no pay. And I'm just like, dang. So here's another thing, she can barely keep up with her rent because her job cut back her hours. So that means she can't really put money to the side to save for the car or whatever. So it's like, we've been kicking it for a while, like literally to the point where she would cook for me. I would go over her house and eat. She would kind of kick it at my house. I'm like, you know what? I don't mind you, staying at my crib. You can stay at my crib until you, like, get back on your feet, right? Like, we kind of talk, we was doing a grown up. We was doing everything. We was doing everything that you do in a relationship, but we just hadn't made it official. But I was telling her, like, yeah, I don't have no problem. Come to my crib or whatever. That way it'll be easier and faster for you to do so instead of, like, trying to pay rent, instead of trying to put payments, aside for the car, even though your job was doing that. So, okay, now me and Cassie has moved in with me. Okay, cool. So at first, everything was going all good, all smooth. You know what I'm saying? We would get up, we would go to work. I would pick her up from work. Sometimes she'll drop me off at work. I was just letting her drive my car, whatever. As long as she wasn't drinking, we had that understanding. Okay, cool. And then slowly but surely, I started to notice some weird things that Cassie used to do. For example, she would never answer her phone around me. She would always go outside, or she would answer and be like, oh, I'm going to call you right back. Okay, cool. I started to find, well, it's not cool, but I'm just saying, like, this is just what I'm noting to myself. I would find different people IDs or, like, personal information. I would ask her, like, who's this? Who's this? Like, oh, must be my coworkers or whatever. I forgot to give it back to them. They were showing me something. Or, oh, I found this. I'm about to go return it, like, to them, to the post office. I'm just like, why do you have people personal information like IDs? And it was very, like, on a different type of basis. So I'm just like, this not just one thing that happened, like, one time. I'm like, okay, that's weird. So that's 2. But the one thing that really raised my eyebrow, one time I was at work or whatever, and she said that she wasn't feeling well or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, okay, like, as soon as I get off, or like, no, I told her on my break, I'll come get you. So I'm outside her job waiting for her to come out. And the dude was like, oh, you here to pick up Cassie? I'm like, yeah. He like, man, I'm finally glad she got somebody to, fool with, because, man, she's hard to handle. Like, she's a handful. He was like, F that. She probably like 2 handfuls. So I'm like, what you mean? He like, man, everybody know how Cassie is. Like, she don't bring nothing but trouble. Like, anywhere she go, trouble is sure to follow. She's always in something. Like, if her and the person that gave her the job wasn't, like, cool or whatever like that, she probably wouldn't even have a job. Like, she's basically hanging on by a thread. He said that she barely comes to work. Like, she'll come, get dropped off or whatever, then she'll disappear, but come back at the end of the shift. And I'm just like, wait, what? Huh? This man spilling all the tea, and you could tell he not lying. He not stuttering. He don't look like he trying to figure out what he gonna say next. He's giving me all the tea and then some on Cassie, and I'm just like flabbergasted because like, wow. And then low key, everything he's saying is like making sense. That's how I know he not lying. So every little thing the coworker was telling me was definitely throwing me off because I'm just like, wait a minute, what do you mean? As he's talking, y'all, I'm expecting for Cassie to come out of the door that everybody else comes out when they're ready to leave. Cassie is walking toward, like, coming from the back of the parking lot, and that's not where your job at. Your job is right here. So I'm like, I can only wonder, what are you doing? Why are you walking like you walk like she came through the street? She came through the, I don't know where. She didn't come from work. That's what I'm saying. So she's walking towards the car, and she even asked the coworker, like, what you doing talking to her? Like, don't talk to her. Go back there and do your job. That's your problem. You always in somebody's business. I felt like she kind of already knew that the man was already giving me the tea on her. She didn't know what he was saying, but he must be that type of person to always run his mouth. She got in the car. She telling me about how she been at work. She just haven't been feeling good or whatever. So they're going to let her go. They're not going to give her no point, or, you know what I'm saying, they still going to pay her for the whole day. In my head, I'm just like, okay, when am I going to, you know what I'm saying, approach her about this? Because the stuff he's saying is very concerning. Like, she been moving really weird or whatever. So we go home, and she like, what you want me to cook? Now, mind you, she's supposed to be so sick, stomach hurting or whatever. Y'all, she didn't show no signs of being sick. She up, moving around. Even when we was in the car, a song came on. She dancing and all this other stuff. I'm just like, dang. In my head, I'm just like, for you to be sick, you sure doing a lot of moving and grooving. But anyway, we back at the crib now. I'm like, you know, you don't feel well. I just go get something to eat. Like, don't worry about it. She's like, nah, I want to cook for you or whatever. Like, I'm not that tired. So just out of nowhere, I'm just like, Cassie, you don't really be at work when you say you be at work. Y'all, she turned around and was just like, she looked at me like, how you know that? Or like, why are you asking me that? Like, yeah, count out the bag. Now explain yourself. Yo, this girl looked me right in my face and was like, yeah, I do be at work, but sometimes they be wanting me to go run errands, even though I still do be on the clock. Like, did that guy tell you that? Like, what all did he say? He always got his nose in my business, whatever the case may be. I would never lie to you. Like, that's childish. Like, I'm grown, this, and that. I definitely knew Cassie was lying to me right in my face. I felt it all over my body. You could see her in her body movement, her body language. She was just trying to, like, think of whatever to say next. She was trying to look at me to make sure I was believing her lies. Nah, not this time. Y'all, Cassie went on for about 10 to 15 minutes trying to explain herself and trying to make everything make sense, not knowing she was only digging herself in a deeper hole. When she got done, she was looking at me for a response, and I was like, oh, okay, that's all I really had to say. She got mad at that. She's like, this is crazy. You're going to believe a complete stranger over me? I don't know why. People are always making rumors about me. People are always in my business. Now you letting them get to you. That's crazy. If it was anything going on, I would definitely tell you. I thought we had like a different bond. Yada, yada, yada. Y'all, I wasn't believing anything Cassie was saying from that point forward. Okay, cool. Fast forward. Things are still like awkward. I'm dropping Cassie off at work still. There's, you know, no car. Mind you, she's supposed to be saving up the whole time that she's living with me. Okay, cool. She texts me throughout the day and sends me pictures of her at work, I guess trying to make me believe that she's at work. But at this point, I'm over it. I'm turned off. I'm not really attracted. I'm just trying to, you know, still let her be able to have a choice, a chance to get on her feet so that she's able to, you know, get her a car. Cool. One day, Cassie told me, like, hey, I'm going to go visit, like, some of my family or whatever. Someone else is going to, my cousin or somebody like that, going to come pick me up for work. Like, I'll be home later. I just don't want you to, you know, wait for me, whatever the case may be. And okay, because at that point, I felt like me and Cassie definitely needed some kind of space between us because it was obvious that there was a little tension. You feel me? So, okay, cool. I get off work. You know what I'm saying? Back then, I had me a nice little glass of wine. You know, I'm just trying to enjoy myself in my space again. I was used to just being me or whatever since Cassie had moved in. It's like I kind of always had to worry about, like, is she good? Like, you hungry? Whatever, all this stuff like that. So, I was really just enjoying being me. I'm on the couch, you know, watching TV, sipping my wine. It's like a banging at the door. I'm like, what? Like, who is it? They like, it's the police department. I'm like, what? Surely they got the wrong house. So, I'm not even tripping. I get up. Fasten my robe or whatever. I go to the door with my glass of wine because I'm just that confident there that, you know what I'm saying, it's a mistake to have the wrong house. Go to the door. The first thing the police officer say is, Cassie, says her last name, whatever. I'm just like, we're going to call her Cassie Brown. He's like, Cassie Brown, looking at me. And I'm like, no, but like, you know, what's going on? Is she okay? Because I'm thinking they're here to tell me that something happened, you know, something bad happened or whatever. The guy's like, well, we have an arrest warrant for her, you know, for fraud. Do you know where she is? If she's in there and you're not telling us, like, you know, you can be in trouble. I'm like, she's not here. Like, what's going on? Like, I'm kind of shocked. They basically telling me that they've been kind of having her under investigation for the past year, kind of watching her moves, watching what she do, and she has like been stealing people's credit card information, personal information, IDs, all this other stuff, and she's been getting like a lot of money from it or whatever, just basically doing fraud. And they finally have enough evidence to the point where she can't even wiggle herself out of it if she wants to. They've been building a RICO case, and they here to arrest her. And they like, well, they see that she frequents this address a lot, or whatever the case may be. And they like, yeah, is it okay for us to come inside and look? And I'm like, yeah, because she's not here. So it's like, okay, I don't even care at this point. Yeah, come look. So y'all, I let the police walk straight in. I mean, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I mean, Cassie wasn't here. Definitely, I was planning on calling her, trying to warn her, or at least see what was going on. So the police comes in, they looking, they checking every nook and cranny, behind the doors, in the cabinets, under the carpet at this point. So he's talking, he's like, yeah, she went to a bar like maybe half a year ago, and she stole so many people's information. So many people reported their stuff stolen. And once we ran the camera back, so we saw her, but we couldn't identify her at that time. So basically what she was doing was going around town, going to different like clubs, going to different bars or whatever, using some machine to steal people's identification. Even at some point, she worked a second job as a bartender, and she had her own like card reader, credit card reader, whatever like that. And so when she was taking people's payments, yes, it'll pay for the drinks, but at the same time, she was stealing people's credit card information off of that stuff. And it's just like, dang. So remember when we had went to that bar and the guy told us that like, look, you're banned. You're not even supposed to be here. Instead of him saying why, that was the reason why. Because Cassie had came and she was taking people's information and doing all this extra stuff. And I'm like, wow. And remember how I always used to find the IDs, people's credit cards that didn't even belong to her. And she's like, oh, somebody must have left that. Or, oh, I found it. Someone had returned this, and that. Y'all, she was an incredible scammer, if you ask me. She's been doing it for all this time and she never got caught up until now. And it's just like, dang, right up under my nose. And that's why people don't like really fool with her, or people think she's trouble. People out here calling her thieves and keep her away from me, this and that. And here I am letting the thief sleep in the house with me. Here I am low key. Well, I was before she started all this weird stuff and I found out she was a liar. Here I am falling for the thief. Here I am saying like, oh, let me give her a chance, this and that. Like, it's crazy. Even the police officer was telling me that the car that she wrecked, or when she was drunk or whatever, they don't even belong to her. She stole that. Well, she personally didn't steal that, but she knew the person that stole it, and they gave it to her to drive around in. So that's not even your car. Wow. I'm like, you know what? Cassie is really a sneaky snake. Right up under my nose, though, is crazy. When I knew something was going on. Whole time, yeah, she has a job, and she supposedly works there, but I drop her off, and she goes out to do her scamming business. That's where she makes, like, the bulk of her money. And apparently, get this, she has way more money than what I thought she had. I'm thinking, she working her 9 to 5, so it's a little harder. No, from the police officer's perspective and what they were saying from the information they gathered, she's making thousands of dollars in 1 week. So where's the car? Why isn't she able to afford her rent? They like, last that they heard she was standing in shelter. I'm like, nah, she had an address, like, maybe 10, 15 minutes from me. They're like, oh, no, that's her plug's house. That's the guy that she kind of runs around with and does these type of things. Well, we already arrested him last week. Yeah. So the officers can clearly tell that I'm completely mind blown. I'm like, oh my God, wow, like, this is crazy. He's like, I could definitely tell you don't have anything to do with it. I'm sorry. You kind of like an innocent bystander. She kind of, plots on people. She kind of bait people to make everyone else think that, oh my God, she's just a sweet person. But like, no, believe everything that you hear about this girl. She has a rap sheet as long as the Nile River, this, and that. She's always changing her identity. Even the name that she told me was her name was definitely not her real name. Even though she told me like, oh, she don't really mess with her family, it's because that she already tried to scam them. She had already stole from them. She would get into fights with them. They had so many reports on this girl. It was insane. So they was letting me know, like, listen, definitely, if you see her, give us a call, whatever. We got to get her because she's just, it's long overdue. And they left. And I sat there and I was thinking to myself, should I call her or give her a warning, or should I just let her walk right into the trap? Before I tell y'all what I did, tell me what you think I did. Do you think I called her, or do you think I just waited for the police to come and like waltz her away? I'm not gonna lie, y'all. After the officers left, I needed just one more glass of wine because I'm just like, wow, it is so crazy how here I am sitting here wondering. I didn't even pray like a couple of nights before, like, God, am I doing the right thing? Helping her out because this something just didn't feel right. I knew I would never ever get the truth out of Cassie, but it's just like the way it happened because I didn't even plan on being home. Me and another friend was talking about going outside or whatever, but I was like, you know what? I'm kind of tired. I just want to enjoy my house. I just want to have my house to myself again. You know what I mean? Before Cassie came back or whatever the case like that, I was thinking about going out, but because if I did, I wouldn't even, ran into the police. I'm so glad that I stayed home. So, I'm steady drinking. I'm like, dang, I kind of feel bad for the girl. So, I pick up the phone and I give Cassie a call because at this point, it's like, all right, I'm going to give you a chance to, not lie to me. Hopefully, you won't lie to me this time. You'll be open and honest, right? So, I pick up my phone and I call Cassie. First, she didn't answer. I text her. I let her know, like, hey, this is an emergency. You need to call me ASAP. She's like, oh, my God, is everything okay? I'm about to call you. Give me like 5 minutes. Kill. So as I'm sitting there trying to figure out what I'm going to say to Cassie, how I'm going to start this conversation, I was still in disbelief and I was low-key disappointed because I felt like I gave Cassie umpteen times to tell me the truth. I gave her umpteen times to come clean about the stuff that I was witnessing, about the stuff that I felt like was sketchy, the not answering your phone around me, going outside, never really talking around me. People's personal information, IDs and bank cards and stuff like that. And then I'm dropping you off at work, but you're not even spending your day at work. You're just coming back when it's time for me to pick you up at work. So while I'm in the midst of trying to figure out what's what, Cassie calls me. She's like, yeah, hello, what's going on? Is everything okay? I'm like, so who are you? Because the police officer basically said that, oh, the name that I know her by, that's not her real name. Anyway, she's like, hello, she's like laughing or whatever. She's like, what do you mean? Who am I? You know exactly who I am, silly. Like, you must miss me or whatever. You wanted me to call you. You want to hear my voice. And I'm just on the phone, like, low-key disgusted. She's like, what do you mean? You keep asking me stuff like that. I'm like, so I called her the name that the police officer told me was her real name. And it was silence, radio silence, nothing. I'm like, hello? I could tell she's still on the phone because, the time is still going. So you haven't hung up. I'm like, Cassie, you basically have been lying to me this whole entire time. And while I'm out here feeling bad for you about how people don't really want you around, people don't really fool with you, even one of my close friends told me to stay far away from you. She never told me the reason, basically. She just wanted me to cut you off. The police came and they told me everything that I was curious about. And everything that they said made sense. And also that coworker that you was telling me that you was going to go off on and he was nosy and he was in your business, he wasn't lying either, was he? Y'all, still nothing, still complete silence. She hasn't said a mumbling word. Finally, after like a minute of silence, I'm like, Cassie, I know you're still on the phone. Like, say something. You don't have nothing to say for the first time. You're not running your mouth. You're not yapping. Like, what's going on? She responds and says, look, I'm going to send somebody over there to get all of my stuff. And that's going to be that because you're being weird. I'm being weird. Wow. That is insane. So because I'm questioning you about stuff that, actually the proof is in the pudding right here. I'm the one that's being weird. I'm not going to lie, y'all. That took me all the way back. I'm just like, this is weird. So I'm about to go off on her and tell her basically how I feel because I've been holding back this whole time. But the minute I start to say something, the phone hangs up. I call back, the phone is going straight to voicemail. I'm just like, bro, what? I'm trying to text her, my message is not delivering. You blocked me? Mind you, everything this lady owns is at my house. Talk about you're going to send somebody to get... No, you can't just send somebody in my crib. Like, what's wrong with you? I'm still sitting there flabbergasted, y'all. I'm just like, dang, how did this really get by me? I take myself to be a very intuitive person. And to, if something's going on, I usually can pick up on it fast. I'm just believing every lie this girl giving out. It's just like, dang, this is so crazy. But all right, I drink yet another glass of wine. And at this point, it just puts me to sleep. So around like maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, again, there's like banging on my door. I'm like, who is it? This time, nobody's saying nothing. I'm like, bro, who is it? I'm not going to open the door if I don't know who it is. And so I finally hear a manly voice that was like, I'm here to get Cassie stuff. No, you not. So we talking to each other through the door and I'm telling him like, look, if Cassie want her stuff, then she can come and get it herself. Tell her don't send nobody to my house and that's that. He like, she outside in the car. She said she don't want to talk to you, whatever. Just give me the stuff and I'll leave. And I'm like, she outside in the car. So tell her to come get the stuff. I'm not letting no man that I don't know in my house. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. He's like, what? Oh, you want to be a man? You acting like a man. You could be a man right now. Just open up the door. You know what? I got something for that. So I'm not worried about him coming up in my house or whatever like that. Because, you know, living in the United States, I do have the right to carry. And, of course, I got two of them things that's going to make sure. I may not be able to hit you with my fist and get you up off me, but I got something that's going to blow you back. Do you understand me? So I walk back to the room. I get what I need. And at the same time, I'm on the phone with the police. And I'm letting them know, like, hey, you know, there's this guy trying to get into my house. And obviously, you know, earlier you guys came by. And the person that you're looking for is outside in the car, too. Like, I'm kind of talking low because I don't want the guy to hear me or whatever. He's still banging on my door telling me to open up. At this point, I hear Cassie, too, telling me to open up the door. I'm being weird. She just wants her stuff. She'll leave me alone, whatever the case may be like that. So, okay, the officers tell me that they're en route. And, you know what I'm saying, just do whatever I can to make sure I'm safe. And it's going to be all right. Kill. So they at the door. We basically all three of us just going back and forth arguing or whatever like that. I'm just kind of trying to keep them there long enough for the police to pull up. And y'all, I ain't never seen the police pull up so fast. You can hear Cassie say, oh, that's what you want? You 12? You calling the police now? That's lame. I'm going to let everybody know you a snitch, this, and that, and all this other stuff. And supposedly that the guy that was banging on my door, he was a part of the little scamming circle too. The police officer told me, like, yeah, we've been looking for him for a very long time. He was actually very good at hiding. They didn't have no type of information on him or his whereabouts, but so crazy how he showed up to my door in plain sight, and he just so happened to be with somebody that they, you know, was looking for the whole time. Cassie. They got him, took him away. And you would think that would be it, but no. Cassie proceeds to call me from jail, y'all, harassing me about, oh, you just gonna leave me in here? You don't got nothing to put on my bond. You can't help me out. What's going on with my stuff? Like I told her, listen, you're going to have to work that out with the police officer, whatever like that. I took your stuff back to the address that I met you at, and I left everything on the porch. And, you know, do what you will with that information. You have nothing here at my crib. There's no reason for you to show up at my crib. I didn't damage your things. I, you know, folded everything. I'll let your body in the sun. Come pick up your... But don't come pick up your clothes, though. You know what I mean? So I put everything nice and neat on that porch, and whatever is going to happen is just going to happen. You know, tell one of your scamming buddies to, you know what I'm saying, come get it up for you. Like, I don't owe you nothing else. I tried to be a good person. I tried to be nice to you. I tried to invite you in, gave you a place to stay, told you you didn't have to pay no rent. All I want you to do is get your money up. Apparently, you've been making $1,000 a week, but you acting broke. You've been out here lying and scamming and cheating people out their money. I can't be around nobody like that. Karma just gonna, you know what I'm saying, give you what you deserve at this point. It's above me now. Moral of the story, y'all, you can't help everybody. No matter how bad I really wanted to help Cassie. Like I said, at one point, I felt like we was in a low-key relationship, but stuff just kept happening. I kept trying to, you know what I'm saying, fight for the relationship. I kept trying to make excuses. You got to see people for exactly who they are before it's too late. That situation could have ended bad. When the police officer told me, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, she stole from some pretty bad people that was actually riding around looking for Cassie. They was trying to catch her up, saying they was going to do this and that because she's stealing information. She's taking money off cards. She's making people go bankrupt. Like, wow. And you riding around with me as if you're just the most innocent, sweetest person ever. Nah. What's done in the dark gonna come to light. You can think you're getting away with all these lies and all these schemes, whatever like that, but every dog has a day. And that date, it was Cassie's. So, boom, bam. The end of the story time, y'all. We got more story times coming. I don't know if I'm going to do Vlogmas this year. Y'all already asking me about Vlogmas. I want to. I think I might, but I'm really not sure. Y'all let me know. Should we do Vlogmas this year again? What we going to do? How y'all feeling? Y'all feeling Vlogmas or what? Like, should we do something different? Y'all let me know. I'm sorry I took so long to produce this second part of the story time, y'all. It's just been very busy. Hope y'all like my hair. I think if you follow me on TikTok and Instagram, y'all already seen it, but I'm really loving my hair, y'all. I'm just trying to, you know, do different things with it. Y'all ask me if I miss my locks. No, I do not. I'm ready to try out different styles and stuff. I just posted some new pictures on Instagram. So if you're watching this, go to my Instagram and go like my pictures that I took at the pumpkin patch. And yeah, Team Twinkles Twinkle Gang and all my superstar stubs. We back at it again with another story time.